Hey, we're back again, Mafia Unveiled, John and Gene show. So today we're going to fly over to, we're going to be on a show with the cartel, the Cali Cartel. We're going to talk about Gilberto Rodriguez. He was, for the people who don't know, he's a co-founder of the Cali Cartel. He was pinched in 1995 to a 15-year sentence in Colombia. He got early release in about 2002. As soon as he was released, the United States relocked him up in 2003. He received a 30-year sentence. And he died in the United States prisons last year, about a year and a half ago in 2022. So we're gonna talk about that. Now, for the people that don't know, when I went on the run, I started off in St. Lucia to Cuba, Cuba to Colombia. In Colombia, I hid with the cartel. They hid me in Barranquilla, where they helped me out, and they moved me from, when immigration came looking for me in Interpol, they moved me over to Venezuela to a Venezuelan army base, and they hid me there for a while. And then later on, I took off from there, and eventually I get caught on Interpol's most wanted list. We're going to speak to one of the cartel members, Gilberto's son, Fernando. And he'll be calling in shortly, and we're going to discuss the Mafia, the cartels in Mexico, cartels in Colombia, and his dealings and his knowledge and with the cartels and his father.
Did they deal with Pablo Escobar?
Escobar was before that with a friend of mine, actually, that was involved with the MS-13. And he's coming on. I've talked about him before. He's involved with me for a while. He was in prison with me. He's still a good friend of mine. And they were the ones that actually were going to hit Escobar on the runway. There's a couple of books out about them also.
Right, because I'm not sure on the Cali Cartel who they actually ran with, which one out of Colombia. You know what I mean? That's why.
Well, when the initial cartel went down, he took over. Gilberto took over and started a new faction of the Cali Cartel. Right. And that cartel was not as many murders. It wasn't it wasn't like the old cartel where they were killing everybody. He had a little more of a business mind to run it as such. He was a little more low keyed, him and his brother. Right. And also one of his other partners. So they ran it a little different than the initial that we know of from the early days in the 80s when there was bodies all over the place in Miami.
Yeah, because California is flooded, and Texas with cartel, like flooded.
Well, that's always been a stronghold, California, Texas, Miami.
They're not really by us in New York. That wasn't really big by us.
No, it was a Miami thing, but in my year it was big. You know, in my year in New York. But one thing you didn't do was cross them back then, back in those days.
There was a rumor they killed Roy DeMeo because of the cartel. They didn't want beef with them. That was always a rumor, but we know it's not true. They said he killed the guy that was supposed to be something to do with cartel. They didn't want beef with the cartel. That's why they got rid of him. That's what they claimed.
Well, you got a lot of guys, and Tomas, my personal friend from Italy. You know Thomas. Mm-hmm. He did a show on one of the cartel members. He was a guy that was pulling the trigger. He was more used for Sicario, where he was doing the killing. So he was very famous guy. There's books out on him. There's movies out on him. And we spoke a couple of times. He called in at one time. We spoke to him years ago. But, maybe we'll have him back on again. But the Gilberto is really an amazing story. And once Colombia let him out a little early, I guess the United States got in touch with him and told him, we're going to re-pick him up and extradite him back to the United States, where, once you're in the United States' hands, it's very difficult.
We're the only ones that come into the country. They bother everybody. The Southern District of New York, they go to other countries and grab you. They don't care.
Oh, listen, I was in jail in Miami in MCC with Noriega. Yeah. We were the only two on one floor. So Noriega's actually, he was on one section of the floor. Me, we were the only ones there. He sent books down to me, and I was reading books on Noriega because I was amazed at his story. Right. And, when you're talking about when people don't understand, and I've said it over and over again, when it says the United States government, the United States of America against your name, and trust me, you're not winning.
Bro, I was just locked up with the president of Honduras. Yeah. They locked up the fucking president.
I thought you were going to say you were locked up with President Trump because they keep locking him up, too.
I says, what the fuck are you doing in here? He got caught for like tons and tons of cocaine. Tons of it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a different world in those countries, and they don't realize, first off, because we're in Florida, in Tampa, a lot of the drug traffic that goes in the seas there is no jurisdiction in the jurisdiction of the United States. They bring those cases into Tampa. They're the most indicted cases from the cartels is in Tampa because it's the strictest sentencing jurisdiction in the United States. For the people that don't know that,
Worse than Virginia?
Worse than everywhere, right here.
The second circuit is, I thought, the worst. Well,
no, Tampa. Tampa's number one. That's why they sentence all the cartel members here. Federally, yeah.
So then Virginia would be number two because the Second Circuit was always known as to be the worst. Virginia.
Yeah,
Florida's bad too. They fucked you over. They tried screwing you, didn't they?
I got the
New York saved you. I know.
Yeah.
I know. They
I mean, I got a boatload of time for somebody in my position, to be honest with you. But they also said they gave me the best deal in this.
Well, but
in this state,
New York got it cut in half, didn't they?
New York got. They originally tried to sentence me to 22 years.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, New York got it down
to 10, right?
12, and we had to do. I did 120 months.
Right.
You know, they didn't give me credit for Brazil.
No, Florida's bad. Bro.
I mean, Brazil, I was supposed to get 8 times, so I did almost 3 years. I was supposed to get 8 years credit.
Right.
They refused to give it to me.
Right.
And which honestly is illegal. Again, I should have fought it, but they confiscated my money. They did everything else to me. There's no, what are you going to fight? So
right.
that's just the way the sentencing is here, and strict judges and
Texas too. The circuits, when you get locked up and you go in these units and you meet everybody from different areas, New York is the best.
Well, you got illegal immigrants. They're not getting sentenced to anything. They just beat up cops. They letting them out.
I know.
I mean, if that was an American doing that, here we go.
Right.
So, hello.
How are you, Eric?
This is John. Is this Fernando?
Okay, John. Yes, Fernando.
¿Cómo está, Fernando? Bien.
Fernando, this is G.
Bien.
How are you?
So, Fernando,
Fine. And you?
Good.
We were just doing a little opening, talking about your father, talking about the cartel in Cali. Can you give us a little history about yourself, your fathers, for the people that don't know?
Okay. Let me ask you a question. You are taping already, or what?
Yeah, you're
live. We're
live.
gonna go live, or what?
We're taping right now. Yeah, we're taping right now. You're on. You're being taped. Yes.
Okay. Could you ask me the question again, please?
Yeah. Can you tell us the history of yourself, your father, and the Cali Cartel for the people who don't know who you are?
Okay, my name is Fernando Rodriguez Mondragon, and I am the oldest son of Gilberto Rodriguez Orejuela, the chief of the cartel of Cali. I was born in Cali. My father, Gilberto, was born in Mariquita, Tolima. He came to Cali when he was very young, about 15 years old. He met my mother in a pharmacy that he got a job as a delivery boy. He met my mother there, and they got married like 3 years later when he was 18 and she was 21. Then, I was born in 1959. When I was about 10 or 11, I started finding out that my father was doing some things that were wrong. I was very young when he started. When the first things he did in his life to make money was to steal trucks. They used to take the truck with a handgun and get the chauffeur out, and they steal the merchandise that it was inside the trucks.
Right.
That was the first robberies. That were the first things my father did in his life to make money, and in his thinking that he wanted to be somebody big. He found a group they call Chemas. In that group, a member of that group was Chepe Santa Cruz.
Right.
His partner in the cartel of Cali. Well, he escalate from that trucks, robbery in the trucks, to he escalate to kidnapping the consul of Switzerland here in
Wow.
Colombia.
Yeah.
They got him, and they got $300,000 for his rescue. Then Chepe Santa Cruz, he was doing some business, his cocaine business in New York, and him by my father. My father was very clever man, and he he had an open mind and a brilliant mind for the criminal things. So Chepe Santa Cruz was sending a baggage from Cali Airport with 20 kilos each with persons, because in that time, in the 80s, beginning of the 80s, well, in United States, the custom wasn't that
Yeah, it wasn't
that
that difficult. It was easier. Yeah.
yeah, it wasn't that hard like it is now. There weren't any machines, X-ray machines and dogs and everything. So they sent 3 or 4 people with the 20 kilos in each suitcase and no clothes, nothing, only the 20 kilos, and they got it out there in New York with no problem.
Wow.
My father said, "Listen, Chepe, you are stupid. We are going to start sending 200, 300 kilos by airplane." And Chepe say, "No, no, no, that's crazy, Gilberto." I say, "Okay." Chepe say, "Okay, you take care of this business, and go to Colombia. You come here to United States. You come to United States and you do the business the way you want it. Just, we go 50-50, and that's it."
And now,
So my father started running the business, the cocaine business, in the early '80s to New York. He put a very big business in Miami called Rio Export and Import. That
yeah,
was inside the airport of Miami
Now this is the era of when it was chaotic, right? Cowboys.
in the
yeah,
'80s.
in
Yeah.
the 80s. Fernando, I lived in Barranquilla. I lived in Santa Marta. I lived in Cartagena, San Andreas. I used to take trips, so I was involved with certain people from the cartel in those places. They helped me move from there. I think you're aware of to Venezuela. But then in the mid 90s, I believe, is the first time your father gets caught in Colombia, and they give him a 15-year sentence. Is that correct?
Well, he got caught. The first time he was caught, he was caught in Spain with
Okay.
Ochoa, with Jorge Ochoa.
Okay.
They got caught in Spain, in Madrid, because they were one night they were drinking in one of the best restaurants in that time, called El Corral de la Morería. Was a place that all the tourists in all the world knows. That place is a restaurant where they have the show, the flamenco
Yeah.
show. So they went there, Jorge and my father, Jorge's wife, my father with his wife at that moment, Miriam, and they start drinking champagne, Dom Perignon, and they ask for food, and the account, the bill was a little high, like $3,000. So the guy from the restaurant, because my father and Jorge Ochoa were very drunk,
Right.
they the guy called the gendarmeries. In Spain, there is police and there is gendarmeries. The
Yeah.
gendarmeries is less than the police. This guy were thinking that these guys, they were drunk and they weren't going to pay. They called the gendarmeries. They came, and well, my father and Jorge say, "No, no, no, we're going to pay, no problem." They took a bunch of dollars, a lot of dollars in cash, and throw it to the guy and say, "Here is, I pay you." It was like $4,000 or $5,000. So the gendarmeries saw that this guy took from his pocket that many dollars and called the police. The police,
Oh.
required them, and they saw that it was Gilberto and Jorge Ochoa. They were required by the police in Colombia, and they have an investigation by the DEA in United States. So they got a fight. They got a fight with the justice there to be sent to Colombia. They won. They won against the American. The American wanted them extradited to United States, and they they got that the judge there say that they have to be extradited to Colombia. The money, the corruption in that moment. Felipe, the prime minister, helped Then to get the extradite to Colombia, this writer from Colombia, Gabriel Garcia Marquez, was one of the helpers of my father and Jorge Ochoa, so they could receive the sentence that it was extradition to Colombia, not to United States.
Would save their lives, yes.
Yeah, yeah. So then he came here, and then he got caught again in 1995, and the rest of his life, because he only got out in 2002 for 6 months.
Yeah.
He got out. He completed the sentence in Colombia, but the DEA, the American people, have already the invoice to
Wait, they recharged
get
him with the
him
same stuff?
extradited.
Yeah, I talked about that earlier before you called in. Yeah.
They indicted him on the same thing he got indicted for in the 80s?
No, it's a different money laundering charge and drug, right? It was what did they exactly charge him with? Money laundering, drug extortion?
They charge him of sending to United States 200 tons of cocaine and laundry $2 billion.
Yeah.
God, yeah.
That was the case. Yeah.
And he ended up getting sick and dying in what prison? Do you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
He dead. Yesterday, 31st, he would be 65 the day before yesterday. 31st of January, his birthday.
yeah, he was. I know he was known to be a very, very smart man. When people talk about the cartel, he was known to be more intelligent. He wasn't. He didn't believe.
The chess player.
He was a chess. He didn't believe in the killing and the violence of some of the other guys in the past. I know. Yeah, he had a reputation of.
He thought he always say that the money was better than a bullet.
Yeah, yeah. very, very smart, intelligent. Yeah, it's a very intelligent thing. So, are you in Cali now? Is that where you're at?
Yeah, I live in Colombia, yeah, somewhere near Cali. Yes, I'm working normally. Well, right now I'm 65 years old.
Okay.
It's not much to do, but I'm trying to survive.
Did you do any prison time yourself?
Excuse me?
Did you do any prison time yourself?
You know, you live legal life, right? You don't live. You've never been in trouble.
Oh, my legal life in 2002, I got caught. Well, it was the police. My father was released from jail, so the American people put pressure on the police of Colombia, and they needed a Rodriguez to something happen. So they set up 2 kilos of heroin in my car, and they accused me of trying to sell 500 kilos that never exist. But they caught me with the 2 kilos that in Colombia, 2 kilos only gives 4 years in jail. This guy condemned me to 11 years in jail just because of my last name.
Wow.
But I paid 3 years in jail. I got out in the 2005. And well, that's what happened to me when my father came out of jail. That the police of Colombia set me up and made me pay 3 years in jail. I was the last guy of the family to see my father and my uncle, my father alive when he left the Convita jail. I was with him, and I was in the same patio with my uncle. I could say goodbye to him when they took him to United States too.
Yeah. Well, Johnny, his dad operated the same era as Pablo Escobar.
Yeah, yeah. His father, your father operated at the same time as Pablo Escobar back in the day, in the same era, but just a different cartel.
They had to have interaction, though. I mean,
yeah, there is something that the time of what you say here, everything goes around. Escobar died the 3rd of December of 1993.
Yeah.
He died the 3rd of December, and my father was extradited to United States 10 years later, the same day.
oh shit.
December 3rd,
Exactly.
2003, yeah.
Oh, look at that shit.
Yeah. 2003, the 3rd of December. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I moved around a lot in Colombia when I was there. I was in Medellin. I was all over too. Do you travel a lot? Did you go to San Andreas? Do you move around in Colombia or no? You don't really go move around from city to city. Do you know Cartagena? You're familiar with Santa Marta and
Yeah. I
Barranquilla?
go on vacation.
Yeah,
Santa Marta, Cartagena, Barranquilla, San Andres. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It's beautiful. I stayed there for about 8 months, so it's
It's beautiful,
yeah.
beautiful.
I had a lot of friends of your father's friends, so I know a lot of people there that helped me move around, and then later on
Yeah,
moved me into Venezuela. I was
yeah.
talking about so.
Half of the friends of Escobar on half of Colombia, and half of the friends of the Cali Cartel on the other part of Colombia.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
Right.
in what time? Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, well, back when I was there, and I'm going back in 2003, they were still killing a lot of politicians. So in front of my building, I lived in one of the cartels buildings. They kept me, secured me there, and they hit a prosecutor who was on his way to the hospital.
Wow.
They got information that he was going to the hospital, and they hit him. They machine gunned, I don't know, it was maybe 200 bullets through the car
Where was this?
in Barranquilla. Barranquilla.
That's how they operate.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
and today they have a festival in Colombia. Is that right? There's a party.
They have. I didn't hear the last part.
They have a
In
festival.
Colombia, what
Yeah,
they have?
a festival today. A
Yeah,
festival.
here in the city that I live
Uh-huh.
is his birthday,
Yeah.
and so they have a big parade today. They have music later. They have everything. We are on a festival. Yeah,
Yeah.
Saturday and Sunday.
I used to love some of the parties they had. The street parties in Colombia was. There's one thing that
Yeah.
people like to have fun, dancing and drinking, and
Yeah, yeah.
it's a fun
No,
place
it's
to
good.
live.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good for the people. Yeah, yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, but we really appreciate
Okay.
you on and talking about your father yourself. And
Okay,
you
no
have any
problem. You're
messages for
welcome.
anybody else, Fernando? Do you want anything else to
Well,
say?
the message really is for young people to believe that you only make money if you go the right way, the straight way. The left or the right way will take you to jail or to death.
That's right.
Okay,
Yeah,
and the drugs are really bad for young people. I hope one day we this cocaine doesn't exist, but I know it is impossible. But we're trying to tell the young people not to do it, not to go into drugs, because really is really bad for your life. It's the end of your life when you get inside the drugs. And
yeah,
if you go to the drugs to make money, you end up in jail or in the cemetery. Okay,
That's right.
that's what I want to tell the young people.
Fernando,
Thank you very much.
it's a great message from you, and I appreciate it because one of the reasons we do this show is because of what you just said. We want to teach the kids all the suffering you made. Your father lost his life suffering. Your mother suffered, and it's just not worth it. I lost my daughter to drugs, to fentanyl, and
Yeah, yeah.
we're against it. We spent our lives in prison, so it's a good message, and I really appreciate that message. And for the people that are listening, I didn't ask you to say that message. That message came from you, your heart, yourself. So
Right.
I'm glad you gave that message.
Okay. Take care. Thank you very much to
Thank
you
you,
guys.
Fernando.
Take
God
care.
bless you.
And
Thank you.
continue doing your job.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
So, the great thing is, anybody that's really serious in this life, in the street, always says the same thing. The pain and suffering isn't worth it. He lost his father. His mother suffered. He suffered. He's in jail because of the past of his father. I understand when people say, well, how do we know they really set him up for the 2 kids? Because I understand Colombia. I live there. I know the laws are different there. They'll put packages in, and he's going to pay the price because of his father, and they thinking in their minds are he's got to be doing something, even though I know he wasn't. And his father's friends were my friends who helped me move around in Colombia. So, I appreciate that he came on for us, and I appreciate that message. And for the people that talk all that nonsense, anybody who's really in this business or big in this business who understand the life and the suffering gives the message he just did. So, I really appreciate him coming on.
Right. Also, we'd like to let you know that Johnny's baseball bets are back. And if you want to follow us on Instagram, Gene Borrello, Johnny Alite.
John Alite.
Johnny Alite, sorry. And, stay tuned to next time.
Hit the subscribe button and tell us what you think. We're going to be doing a live, actually. So we're going to do some lives, and we might do one actually today after we get off on this show. So you guys that are watching this now won't see it and know about it, but we're going to do a live on Instagram and do some talks and say hello to everybody in studio. But anybody suggestions, anything else you want, please let us know. Check out our website, bats, books, clothing, pictures from us, engagements. If you want us lectures, we're available. All right, anybody, please write in it too if any shows you are interested in. Thank you and have a great day.